I see him differently. I see Sean Combs, Diddy, Puff Diddy, whatever the hell his name is. I see him differently, perhaps maybe than you. I don't know why. I'd like to talk about him, but perhaps not the tabloid version, not the cartoon version that the media want, but the man, because beneath the headlines and beneath the mugshots and the hashtags, there's a story about how America treats success and celebrity and power when it turns uncomfortable. Now let's set the record straight. Diddy's release date has been pushed back, not years, not weeks. A bureaucratic extension. Reports say rule violations, homemade alcohol, unauthorized phone calls, a technical infraction, not a criminal relapse. And yet the media devoured it like blood in water. They plastered the same photo, recycled the same moral outrage, and quietly ignored what this really says about our system, which is what I want to talk about tonight. Look, here's a man who built empires, Bad Boy Records, Ciroc, Revolt, a mogul, a marketer, a once-in-a-generation American success story. He took Harlem hustle and turned it into Wall Street reality. And now that he's down, every headline reads like some kind of public execution because they want him finished. They can't just report the facts or maybe perhaps even suggest that maybe it's not all over. They've got to remind you how much they want him destroyed. They want him finished. I don't know why. And I have to ask, is that justice? Is it envy? Is it jealousy? Is it hatred? I don't want to bring up the R word, but the trial itself was already stacked with contradictions. The prosecution sold a narrative of empire wealth and empire-wide corruption and trafficking and racketeering and coercion. And the jury rejected most of it, acquitted of the ugliest, most serious counts, convicted on some narrow, weird kind of transactional charge. Still, he's treated like a supervillain instead of a flawed human being or somebody who just got caught up in a jam. I think sometimes Epstein got better treatment than he did. And now a minor rule infraction becomes another moral headline. But I see something even deeper. This is the American system teaching you a lesson in him. No matter how rich you are, no matter how rich you think you are, no matter how powerful, how black, how famous, how talented, how whatever, when the machine decides you've outlived your usefulness, that's it. It will humiliate you. It will destroy you. So let's step back. The man is serving his time. He's reportedly participating in chapel programs. Nobody cares about that. Substance abuse counseling. Nobody talks about that. Reading groups. He's not out there breaking laws. He's trying to endure, trying to get by. And what does he get? Another month tagged onto his sentence. And 100 think pieces about the fall of Diddy. Give me a break. You know, my friend, you know what's really interesting and fascinating, really, is the same culture that cheered him when he sold $1 billion in vodka now mocks him for calling his lawyer. The same journalists who called him a genius of marketing now call him manipulative and dangerous. It's the same old American hypocrisy. We love building icons, and we love tearing them down even more, and he is the favorite. And nobody's really asking the questions, the real questions, the pertinent questions, but I am. What's the evidence behind these supposed rule violations? Anybody venture a guess? Was he informed properly? Were his communications privileged at all? Impermissibly, improperly, illegally obtained? How many inmates get their release date moved for one infraction or the same? And how many of those stories make it to page 6 or the Daily Mail or whatever it is? Look, or TMZ. Oh, TMZ, Jesus. You know, this isn't about guilt or innocence anymore. You know it's true. It's about image. Diddy has become a character, the fallen mogul, the bad example, the morality play for a society that loves scandal more, in fact, my friend, than truth. But let's look closer. If a man is acquitted of the most serious charges, shouldn't that matter? If a sentence is already being served, shouldn't the system focus on rehabilitation, not humiliation? We claim to believe in second chances and redemption, but only when it's convenient, only when it's someone we approve of. And here's the irony. Listen to me carefully, because I've watched this case, as you know, for a while, and find it fascinating. The same industry, the same group of folks who lionize him in this apotheosis of fame, who lionized the same people who love gangsters and hustlers and rebellion, now pretend to be shocked when one of its own embodies those contradictions that they supposedly love, but in real life. We build a culture that worships risk and excess, and then we crucify the man who lived it too honestly. Huh? That's fair to you? I don't think so. See, I'm not saying Diddy's perfect. Far from it. Nobody is. Well, I am, but that's beside the point. But the way this case is named says more. It says more about America than it does about him. We don't punish behavior. We really don't. We punish narrative. We punish symbolism. Diddy represents the media dream, unfiltered ambition, ego, reinvention, and that makes him dangerous to the very establishment, the very group, the very people that he wants entertained. And you want to talk rather about double standards? Oh, this is even better. Look at the corporate America aspect of this. Executive destroy pensions, manipulate markets, launder billions, and they get golden parachutes, not prison jumpsuits. We laud their treacherousness and their treachery, I should say. But when an entertainer crosses lines of behavior, the moral panic explodes because his fall sells ads. See, his failure feeds the myth. So yeah, the release date was moved, June 2028, instead of May. Oh my God. A bureaucratic footnote. But the coverage reads instead like a scandal. Why? Oh, and what an omen, huh? And you know what that tells me? By the way, does Ghislaine Maxwell get any problem? No, she's perfect. She's perfect. She only trafficked in human beings, really trafficked. He is a supposed pimp of women he supposedly prostituted who showed up basically and begged to get into his parties, but I digress. They're not afraid that he'll fail. They're afraid he'll come back. They're afraid he'll walk out of those gates, reinvent himself, and prove that redemption and purification still work in a world that forgot how to forgive, which we supposedly believe. We forgot that incarceration isn't the end of a person's story. Do I have to tell you that? Hello, Johnny Cash. Hello, Merle Haggard. It's a pause. It's one chapter. There are thousands of men and women in the same system who never get a headline, never get a shot at a narrative repair, and maybe Diddy's story, because of his fame, because of his situation, because of who he is, maybe that can shine a light on the machinery of punishment itself, the bureaucracy, the pettiness, the imbalance between power and mercy. So this is very important. If we want to have a real serious discussion, and I hate that word, conversation about justice, let's have it. Why are minor infractions treated as rebellion? Why are celebrity inmates constantly resentenced in the court of public opinion? And why is atonement and expiation never enough? Why? Diddy's supporters, his fans, and in many respects I am. They say he's reading scripture, journaling, working on personal growth. Critics say it's performative. Maybe it's both. Maybe that's what rehabilitation looks like. Messy, uncertain, human, demonstrative. Maybe he has to show people he's doing it in the first place in order for him to get credit for it. And then you say, oh, he's just showing off. No, he's showing it. But here's the final truth. If we can't find compassion for somebody who's already lost everything, who's lost his reputation, his freedom, his control, millions, then our system, our justice system, isn't justice. It's revenge. And revenge doesn't heal anything. So my friend, my dear friend, the next time you see the headline, Diddy's release delayed, remember this. Behind the story is a man serving time, a family waiting, and a culture, yes, a culture obsessed with punishment disguised as news. And maybe the real story isn't about another month behind bars. Maybe it's about whether this country still believes in redemption after all. These are pretty serious questions, my friend, and I hope you take them seriously. That's all. What do you think? What are your thoughts? What are your comments? I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know. Comment in the questions that I provided for you here. Thank you for listening and following Lionel Legal. Give you my legalistic point of view as a former prosecutor and as a current defense lawyer. I believe in the truth. I believe in fact. That's all. And I am so honored with your presence, and I thank you for this. So please review everything. Please like the video, subscribe. 80-something% of the people who read our video or watch our videos don't even subscribe. And I ask you, my friend, to comment. Comment, dear friend. Comment as you see fit.